Heya and welcome. I'm Captain Phobos and this is Muppets on the Internet. Today we're going to look at Rad Vlad, electromagnetic solar system denying flat earther. This is going to be a good one.
There's the sun in the middle, and then the planets are being like lassoed around.
That's Rad Vlad, and that's his thoughts on the solar system. We're not going to look at the solar system today. If you want to see a parody I've done of his little thoughts on the solar system, have a look. There's a link below. Today, Rad Vlad is going to share his thoughts about Nicolaus Copernicus. Now, Rad, tell us what you think.
This is the guy I want to focus on for the next debate topic. Nicolaus Copernicus. He's the reason we have this nonsense with the Star Wars space and basketball Earth.
Hey Rad, you're not looking forward to the next Star Wars movie? That's a shame. Oh, anyway, sorry, I interrupted. Carry on.
Before he came along, we had that ancient Hebrew cosmology, or not just them, but everybody. I think the Indians, from India, even maybe the American Indians, the Nordics. Everybody believed in flat Earth.
No, Rad, most people didn't believe the world was flat then. Aristotle, 350 BC, so about 2,400 years ago, worked out that you could see constellations in different parts of the sky depending on how further north or south you were. Eratosthenes, later on, about 2040 BC, calculated the size of the Earth. Because the Sun is so far away, by the time the light gets to us, it's going in parallel lines. So you can now work out, based on the shadows, the size of the Earth. Have a look into it. These ideas from the Greeks spread all around the world. So by the time of Nicolaus Copernicus, pretty much most people believed that the world was spherical.
Some things about him and his story don't add up for me.
It's kind of funny, really. I seem to remember in a recent debate with Fight the Flat Earth, you couldn't work out the angles of a triangle with 1, 1, 1 as its sides. When you've worked that one out, post a comment below, and then I'll know that you have the maths ability to work out whether Copernicus existed.
Okay, so he's born 19th of February, 1473, died 24 May, 1543, at exactly age 70. Not 71 or 69, he died at 70, okay?
Breaking fake news.
Google.
Those who died exactly 70 aren't real. Rudyard Kipling, Buster Keaton, Orson Welles, Howard Hughes, King George V, all fake. No, you're not right there. Just because you don't believe something doesn't mean that it's not true. He wrote a paper called Revolutions, actually published in the year that he died. Well, the full title was The Revolution of the Heavenly Spheres. Now this little document led on to a different kind of revolution, not the way the planets go around the sun, but a revolution in scientific thinking called the heliocentric model, which basically says that the spheres, the other spheres, not the Earth, which is one of those spheres, they all rotate around the sun and not around the Earth. This led on later to Galileo proving this with his telescope. Okay, Vlad, thanks for that. Now, what other problems do you have?
Then ask Google, when was the telescope invented?
Vlad, just because you ask Google a question doesn't make it a valid question. But anyway, go ahead.
1608. So he didn't have a telescope. It was invented after he died.
Okay, Vlad, I get where you're going with this. Now, the thing is, when you go north, you see the constellations in a different place in the sky than when you go south towards the equator. In fact, when you go to the southern hemisphere, you see a different set of constellations altogether. But then people in Australia can't do that because they're all sitting on their heads because the whole world's upside down. Right, Vlad? Anyway, these These observations do not require a telescope. You can do them with the naked eye. So Copernicus could have come to his conclusions with or without a telescope. What next?
I asked Google, when was gravity invented?
Oh dear. Okay, first, just because you ask a stupid question, oh yeah, it makes it a stupid question. And you just asked a stupid question. You don't invent a law. If anything, if you like, you discover it. But anyway, carry on.
You like that? Invented, I asked. And it has an answer. Gravity was invented between 1642 and 1727 because that's when Isaac Newton was born.
And you don't invent gravity. You just describe it. It's just there. It's the thing that makes the planets rotate around the sun. Yeah. Well, anyway, carry on. What are we going to say next?
Copernicus didn't have a telescope. He didn't have gravity.
Right, Vlad. In order to see planets move through the sky, you don't really need a telescope. You can see them. You can go out, have a look at the sky, and see Venus and Mercury and Jupiter. They're all there to be seen. Now the problem is, if you've got the planets rotating around the Earth, they do something that's called retrograde motion, which is really difficult to explain with the geocentric model. But with a model of the planets rotating around the sun, their movement in the sky seems to make an awful lot of sense. And that's why Copernicus suggested the heliocentric model of the solar system. And gravity's what causes it all. Okay, what's your next point?
Yet he sold us the heliocentric model.
What do you think was going on? He didn't publish it until he was on his deathbed for fear of what the church would do to him. The Inquisition put Galileo on house arrest for propagating the heliocentric model. You have no idea. He didn't get any profit out of it. Okay, Vlad, what's the real issue here?
I don't trust everything we're told, but...
You just don't trust what you're told. What do you think is going on? How do you think Copernicus was going to make profit out of this? What do you think? He was a sun worshipper or something?
Finally, we shall place the sun himself at the center of the universe.
Okay, that's it, isn't it? That's the crackpot idea. You think Copernicus worshipped the sun. Really?
A couple of strange things there. He calls the sun him.
Vlad, people do that all the time. It doesn't mean people think something's a god. It just means they value that thing. She's a beauty when they're talking about their car. Isn't that a beautiful plane? Doesn't she fly like a gem? People do it all the time, Vlad. Doesn't mean they mean anything by it.
Read and learned about this man. He was a pagan sun worshipper.
Vlad, he was a committed Catholic part of the church. That's why he was so afraid to put his ideas out there, because he wondered what his effect would be on him being part of the church. He was not a pagan. Right, Vlad, can't take any more of this. We got to move forward. This whole he was a pagan thing, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Come on, what's the next thing?
But when I started to question the reality of this guy...
Hey Vlad, why would you do that? Why would you question the reality of him? It might all not be 100% true, because it was a long time ago and not everything was recorded on YouTube, but he was a real guy, and we know that he came up with the heliocentric model. Going with this, Vlad, what is the point?
Is that this image is not the real guy.
Don't say, Vlad. Yes, no, they didn't have cameras. They drew portraits of people. Your point being, somebody drew a portrait of him and it's not real?
And I forgot to pull that part up, but you can Google it. The artist who painted this image lived like in the 1800s.
Vlad, seriously. The portrait has written underneath of it who it was painted by. In fact, we don't know because it was anonymous. And the year that it was painted. Do you see that? I think you missed it because you're holding the camera and you're reading your notes. And obviously in your notes, you didn't pick up who did the portrait.
Like a cartoon, because when I looked at it, I looked closely and I said, this does not look like a painting. It's like a cartoon.
Now I see it. It's Farquhar out of Shrek.
Insight into how I think.
Vlad, we have got a massive insight into how you think.
Like this chin is, no one has a chin like that.
Come on, Vlad. You're getting personal now. Look, I've got a chin like that.
a ball spinning around in space, orbiting the sun without gravity. How'd he sell something like that, man? What a salesman he was.
Nobody's trying to sell anything here, okay? Nobody's making a profit out of this. It's just observable facts. Stars spin around the North Star. That shows the Earth is spinning on its axis. The planets, over the seasons, follow a retrograde motion as the Earth is a different position around the Sun relative to the other planets. I showed you a picture of that earlier. So the problem is, Vlad, you can't take the evidence. You live in your little tiny world and you can't see beyond it. And your world is made even smaller by the fact that you don't trust other people. But your incredulity about what other people believe, including the fact that Copernicus was a real man, your doubts don't make these things any less true. If you had the time and the patience, like somebody like Copernicus, you could actually see these things yourself. You wouldn't need other people to prove it for you. I choose to just trust what they said and their observations. So, Vlad, any last words?
Who have knowledge and they have influence and power. You don't see who they are. They work in secret.
Oh my goodness, no. Vlad, we're not going to that place. Not now, anyway. Well, thanks for watching the video right through to the end. I appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. It was an interesting one looking at Copernicus. I hope you got some stuff out of it too. That's it for now. If you like the video, please give it a like down below, and I think it's over there. Subscribe as well. Looking forward to seeing you next time and making the next video. See you soon. Bye.